I'd like to call the Village Board of Trustees meeting to order Monday, February 15th. Due to the state of emergency related to COVID-19, the village will have limited seating at the board meeting. In addition to the board meeting being available on cable channel 980, you are also able to dial in and listen or speak through the telephone. If you would like to call in, please dial 920-322-6120 between 5:45 and 5:55 on the day of the meeting. Audience members are requested to sign in on the sheet provided at the registration table. Citizens wishing to be heard on topics not listed on the agenda may speak under item C. Citizens may be given an opportunity to speak during discussion of items listed on the agenda and are allowed 3 minutes for comments. Disruptive discussion or profanity will not be allowed. Roll call of officers.
Duffy.
Here.
Horning is excused. Streeter.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Will.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Citizen participation. Citizens to address the board only. Statements are limited to 3 minutes. The board may not respond to items not listed on the agenda. However, you may ask for an item to be placed on future agenda. Any citizens wishing to be heard? All righty. Moving down to announcements. Jeremy Sternweiss, please, if you could come up by the podium. The certificate of appreciation awarded to Jeremy Sternweiss with sincere appreciation for 20 years of service to the village of North Fond du Lac, awarded this day, the 22nd day of January 2021.
That was
Congratulations.
that was the anniversary date.
That was the anniversary date, so, and you just get Jeremy here on tonight's night, so this is your what? You know, it's unusual nowadays with folks moving around to different jobs and stuff, so we appreciate that, Jeremy has decided to stick around and serve the village, so thank you.
Thanks,
Yep,
Jeremy.
Thank you.
All right. President's for business and staff reports. Anything from the library, Nick?
Nothing tonight.
All righty. Lakeside Municipal Court, Connie?
The only thing I have new really is we got a new printer finally. Our old one was over 10 years old and we were having to like turn it on and off constantly for it to print. So we're pretty happy about that. And that's all I got.
And everything going well in the courts right now?
Yes, it is.
Good,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
Thank you. Administrator, Nick?
Thank you. Speaking of that printer, so last week that was installed, and as with all of those IT issues, it usually requires some time of mine, and this was not an exception, but it went pretty smoothly this time. Some other IT issues crept up last week too that we took care of. We did the public test last week. The election is tomorrow. Spring primary is tomorrow. Polls are open 7 to 8 over at the community center. I also mentioned I met with some of all of the public works employees last week just to kind of continue this succession planning and trying to figure out the best structure for that department moving forward. And we have an interim type setup going on right now, which is working well. So I did that last week. Also, we have the utility audit coming up late next week and followed up the following week by the general fund audit. So a lot of paperwork and reports being done right now and getting everything lined up for both of those. Yeah, I'll do public works later when public works is. So that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Police Department, Darren.
Thank you. I passed around the monthly reports for January. In addition to that, last Sunday we assisted Fond du Lac PD with a search warrant at a residence out here in North Fond du Lac related to the shooting death in their jurisdiction on February 5th. And we also assisted with surveillance and attempting to locate a suspect from a Dodge County Jail Huber walkaway who was staying at a residence out here in North Fond du Lac. So that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Darren. Do you have anything for fire EMS, Nick?
No.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I was coming up the frontage road today and there was a fire out at the stretch. One of the trucks was on fire. I saw our fire department coming up, so I pulled over and watched them work, and they got it out right away and worked safely. And so it was kind of interesting to see the guys at work. So they did a nice job. Got it out right away. All right, Public Works.
Yeah, I'll mention a few things there. From Mitch, Deschutes Avenue, they have a pre-construction meeting. I believe that is tomorrow. And That's a meeting, I say pre-construction, it's really a pre-bid meeting. The bid opening is coming up here shortly. So I think the bid opening is the following week. So that project will be ready to go as soon as the snow leaves us and the ground thaws. As he mentioned here, and I mentioned this once before, the final reimbursement was done for Indian Avenue Pond Project, and we did get an increase of that grant amount by $25,630 by basically waiting and being patient and asking for more money, because there was some left over. So we did get an additional $25,000 on top of, I believe, it was around $50,000, so it was quite an increase. So that was a great thing, great news. Also, the crew has been busy with the snow and the cold, but they've been out cleaning cul-de-sacs and dead-end areas where that snow gets piled up in terraces where they just can't pile it anymore. So they've been busy cleaning that up, and then it seems to snow again. So right after they get done doing that, there is a main break that will be fixed tomorrow up near Thirk, right across from Friendship Learning Center, just south of Broadway, north of Polk, I think are the streets involved. So the residents across on the east side of the road there by Friendship Learning Center will be out of water approximately from 7 to 3 is what we're telling them at this point. So not the best conditions to be doing that type of work right now. So we elected to let it run overnight a little bit. It helps thaw out the ground, and it helps show us exactly where it is when this ground is so hard like this. And it wasn't a huge leak at the time, so we're letting it run so we don't have to work in the dark tonight. So that'll be work done tomorrow. So hopefully everything goes smoothly, because with the temperatures the way they are, the things can get pretty bad. So other than that, obviously it's just been, the Public Works has been very busy with all of the snow and cold and ice, and it's hard to clean this stuff up when it's this cold. So bear with us. It will get, eventually warm weather is on its way. So.
All right.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Nick. Consent agenda. Approve the minutes of the following village board meeting from February 1st, and approve invoices and authorize checks to be drawn on the respective funds as indicated. General Fund, $141,960.32. Library Fund, $742.59. EMS Fund, $25,905.21. Capital Projects, $3,373.73. Water Department, $9,692.01. Wastewater Department, $4,604.69. Stormwater Fund, $455.79. Community Development Authority, TIF, $94,953.02, for a grand total of $281,387.36. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion by Will, second by Price to approve the consent agenda as read. Are there any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Moving down to administrative, discussion and possible action on proposal for establishing all-terrain vehicle routes in the village of North Fond du Lac.
I can just start that discussion, and then I'll turn it over to, I think it's Tom that's going to talk from the club. This, I don't have a lot of background information with at this point. I did get this last week, the information that was provided in the packet that you received. I have done a little bit of research with some other communities. I know Police Chief has also done a little bit of research. At this point, as I have told the members that are here tonight from the club, that, and one of them is a resident too, I apologize. I think tonight would be just maybe the start of the conversation of what we're looking at, and maybe an opportunity for all of us to ask questions and get questions answered, and looking at what the proposal is and what they're looking to do here. And, this is maybe just the start of the conversation, and looking at down the road, maybe if the board does want to take action on something like this, I certainly wouldn't expect it tonight. So I think tonight they're here to present, and we can take it all in and ask questions and go from there.
All right.
With that said, in the packet, I think, this is kind of, I'm assuming, something that's been put together for a lot of other communities. They did provide a map that's highlighting all of the village roads in blue. The only current connection point that is active is Minnesota Avenue, where you could actually ride an ATV outside of the village that's connected to the village. Talking to the gentleman out in the hall a little bit, it sounds like county roads can be allowed as long as the jurisdiction, being the towns in this case, would approach the county and allow that, and then the county would have to allow it. So I guess that was one question I had. But with that, I think maybe I'll just turn it over to Tom. If you want to come up to the podium, please, here, and just state your name and address, and then maybe give us an overview of what this has been in other communities and what you guys are working on.
My name's Tom Kemke. I'm North 1219 Lone Pine Road down in Adel. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. You're probably about the 20th community that I've come to see to do these road routes and work with the towns to get this. We provide these packets to all the towns to make it very easy for you. Right from the ordinance itself, all the way through to the letters that you have to send out to the police organizations, the sheriff's department, the DNR, so it's all done for you. We try to make it as easy as possible, and then, so it's not hard for you guys, and then, you know, the residents, like, I think Brandy, I believe, is your name? Glenn, sorry. Glenn had asked us to come up and, you know, talk to you guys about it. Being a village, basically, all the roads you have here are 35 or less, so you can open every road in the village if you choose to. Whether it's state, county, or local, as long as it's 35 or less, you are allowed to open that in your jurisdiction. Anything outside of that, where your roads meet outside and it looks like the town of Friendship, it would be up to them to connect to you on the county link. I think that's RP. It would be up to them to ask the county for that link because it's in their jurisdiction. I don't see why they wouldn't if you opened. Usually the towns cooperate that way. It's usually pretty good. I believe also you have Pioneer that you may be able to use too, to get out the side there. I would have to check into that for sure because I don't know whose jurisdiction that is. I'm not from the area. So basically you can just open the roads if you'd like to so residents can use ATVs through. They'd be able to go to restaurants, gas stations, and then get out to other places where maybe they get to a trail, the Wild Goose or Eisenbahn and some of the other trails are out here. I don't know, again, I don't know this area that well, but, and some of those are opening because road routes are opening. If you have an Eisenbahn, for example, where it goes from one town to another, you have one way, you can't go anywhere. So by opening the road routes, it gives people a place to go to come up that trail, but then go back a different way. So that's why the road route thing was actually put into place, so you can go from trail to trail and access that. So, I guess other than that, if you had any questions, I'd be open to whatever you got.
Anybody have any questions? Ann?
I guess, what benefit is it to the village to allow this?
Well, I know a lot of the residents like it because we've actually run into many towns and many places where people that are handicapped and have disabilities, it's much easier to get into a four-wheeler on an ATV and go down the road and do their business. We ran into that in several towns actually, especially in the country, where a woman was slightly disabled and she had a really difficult time getting in cars and trucks. But she could get on her ATV and she loved it because she could visit her mother that was 5 miles down the road. So you get situations like that. It's very economical and quick to hop in a UTV and go down and do your grocery shopping, you know, without burning a bunch of gas starting your big diesel truck or car or whatever else you got. And it's also cheaper if you don't want to have two expensive cars. You could have an ATV and a car, stuff like that. And then also to get out of town to go to the trails, to go in the country and go and see stuff and, you know, enjoy the benefits and the fun actually of ATV.
Anybody else? John?
The question, you said the maximum speed limit is 35, that you can go in the community or anywhere? I mean, that's what I was reading here, maximum 35 or less. You can't go any faster than that, correct?
You can do posted speed on local roads.
On local roads?
If the
Okay.
ordinance is allowed, you can do, if you had a 55-mile-an-hour zone and for your roads, you could do 55.
Okay.
The state and the county, though, do not allow ATVs above 35 unless they approve it. So if it's 35 or less in town, you can approve it.
Okay.
If it's 35 or more, you have to go to them, either the county or the state, and ask them to open it.
That's the one, because RP is 45 when it just reaches the outskirts of going on RP. That's my question, when you said 35 is the max. I didn't know how that tied in, so.
Right, so
That's
once
a
it
county-
turned to
that's a
45,
county.
you would have to go to the county and get that link. And then it would be up to them. I think, doesn't Fond du Lac have a 35 max? They don't, they do, okay. So the Fond du Lac County would open RP once Friendship would go approach them. They would ask for that link, then the county would approve that link. And then ATV would be able to do 45 on that if there's no restriction by the county.
Okay, what feedback have you gotten from other residents regarding, because not everyone has an ATV or a UTV?
Sure.
What other type of comments or concerns have you received from other communities regarding your proposal?
I've done Washington, Ozaki, Dodge, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan counties. I would say we're 95, 98% pro. You do get people that don't want it, of course. You know, I don't want kids racing up and down my road, that kind of thing. Which is something actually we haven't seen, because the sport's really actually older. The demographic is actually like 30 to 60. So it's actually an older demographic than you think it would be. Kids can't afford a $25,000 UTV, you know, if you're gonna buy something like that. So you don't see really a lot of kids on it that people think that there would be. Also, we had one town that decided they wanted to do a referendum in the last election. It was 70% positive that they wanted them open. People have them, they use them up north, they want to be able to use them when they're at home.
And one last question. And I was reading it in literature you provided in the state that it had to meet with the brakes and headlights and all that requirement, correct?
Yep.
Are they licensed then?
What they do is an ATV or a UTV must show a license on the back that has the registration numbers, and it must be readable. It's got to be a certain height, certain size, so that law enforcement can get behind it, can see what that number is. So there is not a license plate in particular, but there's a posting of that DNR number.
Okay, thank you.
There's a registration sticker like a boat has too on
Yes.
the machine on the side.
Anything else, John?
No.
Mike?
Thanks, Mike. As your plan laid out here in blue, right now, you have nothing that can cross 41 without getting permission from the county, from the county, 00 or RP, right?
Sure.
There-
Right.
there's
Well, I
no way-
mean, you can go north of here in Friendship. I don't know if there's crossings up there.
You can go crossing up here, but 00 we can't get across. I know the county only allows, a lot of times, use on the roads if there's no other path. They want connecting routes to get somewhere, but if there's another path, they prefer, I mean, even if it's a little bit longer, they prefer to go that path.
That's true. Yes. Yes.
So what are the villages? I understand towns. I understand small towns with the pubs and maybe a restaurant, but we only have a few pubs here, no restaurants, and a couple gas stations, and that's pretty much it for businesses that I would think benefit from those ATVs or UTVs coming in the village.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not only for your business, but so your residents can get out and enjoy the other towns and the other places. There's quite a few people that'll go every weekend with, you know, husband and wife and go for a fish ride down the road and take their UTV. It's kind of like motorcycling. You're out in the wind enjoying yourself, but you're on four wheels instead of two, so it's actually become quite a hobby.
Any other villages? I mean, I understand Waupun, there's a lot of trails going through Waupun. But here we don't have any trails coming through the village that I'm aware of. I mean, is there another village out there that comparable to us that we can lean on to talk to or
In
something?
your area, I know Winneconne's open. I know Wapun's open. I know it's further to the south, Campbellsport is open. Lamira just opened. I don't think there's anything else in this area. Eden down there is open, yeah. They're smaller, but yeah.
You know, I think our community's a kind of a quiet community out here. We don't have a whole lot of activity, and I'm not sure how well the residents would react to that. We'd have to really open it up to the community and get their opinion, because it'd be a big, I think, a big deal out here. Who would pay for the signage? In the past, would you expect the municipality or the town to pay for the signage and all that? Or, I see some of the costs and all that stuff. Who picks up that cost? I know the county, when they put things on the county road, the clubs usually pay for it. But what about in a village or a town?
Well, it depends on who approaches us, to be honest. If we approach you, we will usually fundraise and we will find a way to get the money for those signs, and then we will get them put up at no cost to the town. Actually, This gentleman right here has volunteered to pay for your signs. I think you got $130 for the signs.
That's each in it?
No, it's $130 for all of them.
Oh, I thought it was each.
No, that's the
You
total.
gotta drive a pole in the ground? Or-
Well, it depends. If you have your signs that you own, you can put an ATV sign on your signs. You cannot
Coming
put
into
them on a county sign or a state sign, but the ones that you own, you can.
Coming into the village.
But I-
Or the village, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think that's under the assumption that all roads would be open in the village.
Exactly.
Right, because then we'd only need a couple signs.
Right, so that would be if you need the 7 signs for all your ways in. If you put them on your signs that you own, it would cost $130 to buy those. I think there's 5 or 7 signs, that's all it is. And then I usually get 2 extras in case somebody steals them, because for some reason people think they're collector's items. So we give you the extra couple signs, so you got those intact. If you put them on a separate post, you can do that too, which is what we do because we don't own any signs, so if we put them up, we put them on a separate post. And then that's the added cost I have in there, I think that's $200 in. $250 with the post.
Do the most communities use the 10 o'clock cutoff for ATVs? Do most communities use that as a benchmark or a
Some
gauge?
do, you know, it's probably not a bad idea in the village if you wanna keep it quiet. I mean, there's some towns that do, some towns go till 11 or midnight, so you can go have dinner and still get home and not get in trouble because you went to dinner at 8 o'clock and you can't get home by 10, but, some communities do put hours in there, sure.
Right, I mean, Darren, are you going to weigh in on this tonight, or you have anything to say about it?
No, not tonight. I did do a little bit
Chief, I
of
should say.
looking at some other communities, but I haven't put a whole lot into this yet. So at this point, I really don't have a lot to offer. I prefer to be able to take a little bit of time and check out I mean, for one thing, and I'm sitting here just trying to scroll through this, and there's obviously a lot of information in front of us right now. I was under the impression at some point along the way that if the roadways were opened up to ATVs, that you had any ATV operator that was going to be operating on the roadway had to have a valid Wisconsin driver's license in order to do that. That you didn't just open it up like a trail system. If it's being operated on the roadway, you had to have a valid driver's license. And maybe I'm wrong, because I don't see that in any of this, but I thought somewhere along the line that was a requirement.
No, it's not. You have to have ATV training, UTV training, just like a trail,
Right,
but a driver's license and insurance is not required.
okay.
Some towns and villages do put that in if they feel they need that. But I know my experience, machines are expensive, I'm gonna have insurance.
Okay.
Anything else, Mike? Yeah?
I guess on that note, I mean, that, a 12-year-old's able to operate an ATV, right? So then that would mean that a 12-year-old, unless we decided, would be able to ride an ATV on the streets.
12-year-old, any minor that's under 16
Okay?
must be in verbal distance of a parent. So they can't be in the house and have the kids running up and down the road. You can't do that. They gotta be in verbal distance, meaning they're gonna be right behind the kid. Otherwise, they can't be out there.
Is it 12 years old the minimum age, though, or is there no age?
It's 12 for the ATVs. For UTVs, I believe it's 16, yes.
Okay. So I guess I would just say I have a concern about noise. I have a neighbor that drives like a dirt bike by my house often, and I guess I don't appreciate the noise, so I guess do you have any, I guess, dispute for that concern, or how do other people deal with that type of a concern?
I guess the misconception is that people are gonna be racing by every day and night, past your house. To be honest, there are decibel limits, just like everything has, that you can do. Dirt bikes, they can get pretty crazy, and there's no limits on them, so they do what they wanna do because they're dirt bikes. So the UTVs and ATVs do have a decibel limit that they're required to be under. And if you modify it, that's a ticket. I mean, that's what there is. And to be honest, I mean, they go by my house, and I don't even notice them any different than a Harley going by or anybody else. There's one here, one there. It's not like you have a parade of them, and there's 60 of them racing up and down your street every day. You see one here, one there. We've been open for 2 years, and we've had no issues. Nobody's ever complained down by me.
Where are you from?
I'm down towards the Kewaskum area.
Okay. I guess I just have another question. I don't know, the resident, I guess, that kind of approached this group, I guess, would you be willing to talk about why you did that?
Sure. I live on Wisconsin Avenue, which would be easy to hook up with Town of Friendship. And we ride on the lake quite a bit during the winter. And this way we could just leave right from the house without having the trailer and, you know, leave the trailer in the truck somewhere else and come back.
Okay.
That was my big thing for that. And as far as like the noise, where I'm at, the legal motorcycles go by hell that for election on there too, so I, you know, and making a lot of noise. And I think the ATVs, the UTVs would be a lot quieter than a lot of the normal traffic that goes by.
Sure. I guess, do you like it when motorcycles go past your house and are loud, or do you, I mean, you're indifferent, or you don't like it?
The noise doesn't bother me so much as the speed does.
And would you use it in the summertime too, or is it just something in the wintertime that you're thinking?
I would probably use it all year on occasion. I've also got a boat, so if the weather isn't good for that, try to find a trail.
Are there trails around here that you could drive to?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, you can get to some trails now by the roads, but, you know, if we hooked up with friendship, then I understand you can go all the way to, the name of the towns up there.
Mm-hmm. So you can't currently get to a trail that you would ride on in the summertime on the road, or you're saying you could?
I would have to go a trailer and go about a mile, and then I'd be in the town of Friendship where I would unload.
Sure,
that.
I'm just saying if our roads were open. If our roads were open to ATVs, would you be able to drive your ATV to a trail?
I would think so somehow. I can't think of any at this point, but,
Okay, that's fine.
John?
Is there a local ATV, UTV group in Fond du Lac County?
not that I'm aware of.
Yes. It's the people that asked me to come, actually. It's the Fox River four-wheelers. So the Fox River wheelers, they actually have 4 or 5 towns. They're at tonight, which is why I'm here for them.
So with that, what communities are they representing then that have, say, Fond du Lac County?
Yeah, they've been working in Fond du Lac.
What is the other one? Your other one?
Fox River Wheelers.
The Wheelers.
Yeah.
That's a general name, but what are the communities that are associated with the Fox Valley?
Ripon,
Because Fox
Burke.
Valley to me is all the way up to Appleton.
Oh,
So
it-
what is,
they've been doing all of Fond du Lac here. They've been out to the west and working their way, actually both ways. So they're the ones that have been working with like Winneconne, then you go south and there's a lot of weird Indian names over there that I can't say, but I don't remember the name, like Wapaka and, Lamartine was one that came to us.
Eureka,
Eureka, yeah.
there's everything west of here, they've got.
Yeah, yeah, they're all open. So once you get out of here, the Friendship, which is also open,
What about Ripon?
Rippon's open. Or they're working on it. I think
They're
they just
working
passed
on
it.
Ripon right now.
I think they just passed that, actually.
Last week, I think they did that.
Yeah, city or town? You talking city of Ripon?
Not positive.
Okay.
I'm not positive either, because I know it just happened. From
We're just
here,
trying to help them out tonight.
right. From here, if you were open, I could leave this building. I could go up into Friendship, and I could go around through Winneconne, and I could go all the way down to Big Cedar Lake in West Bend. All those
Mostly by
communities are
road?
open.
Or up by road?
All the way road, yeah. Mhm. And then in there's Eisenbahn, there's a Wild Goose, there's another one that goes sideways, I think, and so there are trails in there too that you can get to, so, to answer your question from earlier.
I had a lot of questions, sorry. if
Oh, you got
I
me.
may. I had a lot of
John, are you
questions
done?
written down here, and I think all of the board members at one point or another asked the same questions. And that's it was kind of like, I told these gentlemen before the meeting, and I also informed the board that this was kind of our start to our fact-finding, right? So we have a lot of research and stuff to look into and contact other communities. I did contact Waupun because I was the only one I was aware of that had done it thus far. So to me, right now, after reading this or taking this in and thinking about it, it really, in our case, I think the advantage, I won't say the only advantage, but the main advantage in the village of North Fond du Lac would be for our residents to possibly get out of the village on their ATV to get somewhere. I don't think we're gonna see people riding through the village, which, I think takes away some of the need for it, in my opinion. But at the same time, I think we wanna hear from more residents too, to see what their thoughts are. But I think we have enough internally here as staff, enough information now from what we've been provided that we can do a little bit more research and maybe discuss this at a further future meeting. I guess that's where I'm at with this right now.
Are all UTVs and ATVs like they have headlights and taillights and everything, or are there older ones like the first ones, you know, after they created the three-wheelers? Are those not as safety?
They wouldn't be allowed on the road. To be
Okay.
on the road routes, you must have a headlight, you have to have,
Okay.
tail, they have to have that
Okay.
equipment, it's right in the statute.
Okay.
That was actually another question of mine that wasn't specifically asked. The 10 o'clock rule was asked, but have you come across any villages, cities, towns, whatever, that just say it's daylight hours only?
You can do that, but who determines when it's dark and when it's light? So if I'm at dusk at 5 o'clock and you think
Well-
it's dark and I think it's light,
Well, I understand.
you know,
I mean,
you're best to probably give a time, I guess, to be hard and fast so people know.
My question was, is there other communities that have done that you?
No,
that you're aware
they've
of?
all done hours of operation.
Hours of operation.
Mhm.
And what is it tip, like the ones that, are some of them not setting limits?
Yeah.
Or it's just open 24 hours?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Campbell Sport, I believe, has hours. Eden has 24 hours anytime.
And the ones that are setting hours, I mean, what's a general, maybe average of what they're setting?
I would say the average is probably starting at 7 and ending at 11.
Okay.
Seems to be the, you know, some go till midnight, some go till 10, some start at 6 a.m., but that's kind of the average.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions?
I guess on the SMS to the board, has anybody contacted you guys at all?
I have one.
One?
Yeah, brother-in-law that is a big ATV guy, and he's questioned us talking about this, so I'm hoping to get some more, input from him and see if he knows anybody else in the village. So like down the road, like Nick said, when we have a couple more meetings and discuss this, we can get some folks and maybe throw in the villager or something like that, next villager, and see what people are thinking out there.
That's what I thought was good, maybe what, like the next village or something, I'll get the word out a little bit, see what people stand on it. I think I might have had two people last 6 months.
We
Yes.
purposely don't bring anybody because what happens is you get too many people and you get too much emotion.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't bring anybody. I mean, if you want us to pack it, we can, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
to you.
we appreciate that, just getting the initial information
Right.
from you and stuff. Anybody else that came along tonight? Anybody want to add anything, or?
Well, we have the Eisenbaum down by us.
Okay.
And I can get on the Eisenbaum by my house, and I can come up to Eden and get off at Eden. About 3 weeks ago, I think it was, we went all the way up to Fred's Fast Track right on Winnebago.
Okay.
And then we got done there, and then we went all the way to Greenbush. And we came down and went along Highway 67, all the way along Long Lake, down through Boltonville, Brazelton, and all that, and down back down by us. And by the time you get done, we've got almost 100 miles or more on. Tim, he comes from the town of West Bend, he comes farther away yet. He comes up to join us.
Okay.
I think I've been out 3 times already this winter, and I'm thinking about going out this Saturday again. It's just a nice chance to get out and use your machine and ride with other people.
Absolutely. Cool. Anybody else? All right. Any board members have anything else they want to ask tonight, or?
Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate the information also.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Contact me and my name's on there if you need anything.
Okay.
Very good.
Yep,
Thanks.
more to come on that. Thank you very much. All right. Done. Done. All righty. Moving down to number 2, discussion and possible action on approving the following licenses for February 15th, 2021 to June 30th, 2021. Class B fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor licenses, non-intoxicating beverage license, and dance hall license. Business, The Tipsy Pig, Allison Ghostman, which would be at 751 Wisconsin Avenue for the business address, or for the business address. Does anybody, what is the board's pleasure?
Can I interject?
Yes.
Before we make that motion? It's a little bit the cart before the horse here, because the license, but I have a timeline by statute that I have to follow for the license. It's currently under construction. There's an open building permit, the fire inspection. There's parts of the liquor license that we can't approve until we have occupancy. So what I'd like to do is move forward with the approval of this, but make it contingent on building occupancy and fire inspection.
All righty.
So moved, I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
All righty. Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, we got a motion by Duffy, second by Price to approve the Class B fermented malt beverage intoxicating liquor license for the Tipsy Pig, contingent on the building inspection and the fire code inspection. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments on this item?
I just have a question.
Ann.
Is that the one on the corner that they're?
Yeah, Jen's.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Any other
No,
question?
that's it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right, communications, any communications? Any unfinished business? Any new business? I get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I get a second? Got a motion by Price, second by Will to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.